made it to another episode of the Pipe Dream Podcast. This is a show that reveals the real and raw of tradesmen's stories. We get the truth from those who support the people who do the work. We also take a deep dive with resilience experts and those who do the heavy lifting supporting the labor force. Listen for today's tale from the trench.
So, Michael, kind of just stumbled upon you on Instagram, which is crazy these days. I have a ton of time right now to do it, and I get lost in it, and like a lot of people, I guess. But there can be some good things about it, and just seeing a lot of what you had going on. I've been following you for a few months now, and it's crazy when things show up when you actually need it, right? So you've been having some struggles the last few years like I have, and I just resonated with you, and it was just amazing to see, and just know that you're not alone, and we'll get into more of that later, and the reason why we're here. But I think if we can just let everyone know kind of a little bit what you're about and how you ended up in the personal development space and being as vulnerable as you are.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Nick. Appreciate the time, appreciate the space, and appreciate you creating your podcast and pulling folks together like this. And yeah, it happens fairly often for me. I mean, that is how I found my coach in the beginning, just through synchronicity on Instagram. And yeah, it can be a good platform, or whatever platform you use to bring people together. It can also have the opposite effect, where you follow and let your emotions take over and spiral into this sort of pit of despair. Especially if you're on Twitter these days with everything that's going on there. But you just have to be aware of that and be able to literally unfollow the things that trigger you and follow more of the things that bring you light and hope and inspiration and information.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So I guess you mentioned finding your coach, but what brought you to that point, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. And I think why you and I resonate so well. I mean, my real catalyst for this awakening and the title that I gave for this podcast and at the beginning is the title of my book, which I'm birthing into the world over the next couple months. So that's where that comes from, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more. But yeah, for me, it was really the end of my marriage about 2.5 years ago, and that's what started this whole personal development journey. And we were on the outside living the great life, our perception that we were giving off to the world. We both had good jobs, me as an engineer here in Vancouver, got a great condo here in Vancouver, happy, healthy, Whistler wedding, Maui honeymoon, ski trips, all the stuff. But somewhere along the way, and I talk about this quite a bit in the book that I've been reading parts of each night over the last little while. Somewhere along the way, we really lost that connection, and we lost that shared dreams that we had going forward. And then when things came to a real sudden end 2.5 years ago, that was driven by her. Even though I had this path and I had this perception of my life and what I was giving off to others, even though I had this vision of where I was going, all of a sudden, in almost an instant, it was gone. And I had this real emptiness and this blank canvas. And and I write about this in the book. What was the point of going to work? What was the point of buying groceries? What was the point of getting out of bed? But because up until that point, everything had been for both of us and for both of us to create a future. And all of a sudden it was just me and this big emptiness. And so began my journey into self-discovery, my journey into personal development, to figure out what to put into that blank canvas and how to keep moving forward.
Oh, 100%. And it's funny though, when you say all of a sudden, that's what I felt too. But then looking back and being able to deal with stuff, you realize it wasn't in an instant. These are things that have been happening leading up. Everything was like leading up to a natural disaster, was leading up to a freaking coronavirus. Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
I'm so grateful because I've like that. This was obviously the biggest challenge of my life, but a lot of it really mirrors what people are going through right now, because a lot of people were like, all of a sudden, coronavirus. They were going to work, they were doing their routine, they were whatever it was, and now maybe they're laid off, or maybe they're working from home, and all of a sudden this new reality is thrust upon them for at least another couple months. Like, this is not like, we're recording this April 1st. This is not over in a couple weeks, but it's so people also have this real emptiness, this real space that they're trying to fill in with this extra time right now. Like, a lot of people just got back several hours of their day from not having to commute anymore. And I'd love to have more conversations about what people are stuffing into that time to keep their head busy, instead of doing what I did, and perhaps what you did as well, Nick, is really take a step back. And for me, and as I've been writing in the book, it was really like, how did this happen? What did I contribute to cause this implosion in my relationship? And then when I did that introspection, it was like, oh shit, I really own my shortcomings. And when I did this and acted like this happened. And that hurts. And that is not me. And I write that exact line in the book. I'm like, that is not the person I want to be. And so what happened, it was really me beginning to work on myself and iron out those parts of my personality that I did not want to take going forward.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's just, I like to think of it now as like, how did I just let that happen, where I wasn't showing up in like anywhere but work? Like, I knew how to make money, I knew how to go to work, and I knew how to, near the end, I knew how to take care of my body. That was it. Like, I was pretty good at those two things, but the get paid, get laid scenario does not work anymore. And without putting any deposits in with my wife, with my kids, came to a head where there was no room for withdrawals. Like, there was nothing left in the bank account.
Yeah, and it's a hard realization but really necessary. Once you start owning your contribution to how things ended up, then it really empowers you to stop blaming others, or stop blaming your partner, or stop blaming coronavirus, or stop blaming your job. It is, all of this is what it is. Life is not going to be a smooth sailing boat, a smooth sail through the ocean. You don't learn anything that way. You don't grow at all. But when you start owning these things, you're like, all right, I'm going to improve that. Then you're like, oh wow, I improved that. And for me, it was, case number one was I need to keep moving forward. I need to get up off the ground. I need to reclaim my life. I am not going to let this external situation completely destroy me. Yes, it did destroy me for a period of time, but I wasn't going to let it destroy me indefinitely. And so what I had to do was really so what I started doing, and I write about it in the book, and I've been reading to you guys at night, going out with friends and talking and listening, and then listening to podcasts and reading new books, and just doing all these things to really, what it really was I wanted to get happy again, hence the title of the book, Awaken to Happiness. So I started to learn about all these different things, all these different techniques, all these different authors, all these different spiritual teachers about being present and about gratitude and about controlling your thoughts and controlling your mind and doing meditation and journaling. I just started taking all of it in because I needed all of it, because I was at my rock bottom.
Mm-hmm. But like noticing in your book, like I only heard the first 2 chapters, obviously yet, but it was, you already had some tools in the tank. Like you had, yeah, you talked about journaling at the dinner table, even though you were crying out at the dinner table, right? Like at a restaurant or whatever it was. I never had any of that. So, and most dudes, that's where a lot of us are. And like I'm in the oil field space and the tradesman space where, yeah, like man up, like, and that's most men to begin with, but right. But you're in our space. It's a little, yeah, it's all the same, but man, it can be pretty intimidating. If you were to talk about journaling and like meditation.
Oh, I can't wait, brother, to come up and collaborate with you, with all your brothers in the oil field. Because before November 2017, I never journaled. I never meditated. So I just started those things when my world imploded. And yeah, I mean, I'm an engineer, so I'm behind the desk and you guys are in the field. So, you know, you guys, well, my hands are clean, like they're super soft. I'm not going to lie about it. But we're the same dudes, right? And I was always, my mom always told me to suck it up and, push through. And we were always taught that vulnerability was a weakness, whether or not anyone ever said that to us. But I was never taught how to express myself or how to communicate or how to connect through vulnerability. And it's the opposite. And for your brothers in the field, I don't really care what they think about me, but I know what a lot of their first perceptions may be, and that's fine. That's cool. But I'm telling you, you're wrong. You're straight up wrong. Because Nick and I are already having this real conversation. We already have this connection because he's been following me. He's been listening to me read my book, and like this is a more real, authentic connection and relationship. And for the brothers that are different connection in different ways, but when you're just bitching about the weather, or you're bitching about the hockey team, or you're bitching about your job, and you're just bitching all the time, and you're around other people doing that, I'm sorry, but that is not real, authentic connection. Those are not your brothers. Those are just some guy. And you ever walk away from those relationships or those conversations, and your energy is just so drained, and you feel like crap the rest of the day. That is the opposite of the world that I am creating.
Oh, exactly. And now it's really hard I had to tone it down, but that just all comes with this is like, why is it relevant? Like, why is my struggle and why is my story relevant to this conversation, whatever it being, especially in dating, trying to do stuff? Because it's like, man, oh, hey, I am awake and like, I am more in touch, but like you can be very overwhelming and you can screw that up even quicker than not saying anything. But at the same time, it's just, why is it relevant? So it's like, but yeah, having the tools is freaking amazing. And it was crazy. Like I say, I had nothing, and I literally, I may not have been here if I didn't decide to go to freaking rehab in Thailand for not drugs or alcohol. Like it was just behavior, like all the same shit that I burned my life to the ground is the same thing as a crack addict sitting in the corner, like having a big hit. Like it was just hiding. I was just hiding my feelings. I was hiding my thoughts. I didn't want my wife to know I was scared. I didn't, like, every time I looked in the bank account, there wasn't enough money. It's like, man, I'm working away. I'm doing all this shit. Like, why is this not working? I don't know. Was that similar in your situation? Like,
yeah. And I really appreciate what you're saying, and I really appreciate your vulnerability. And because just by saying those things and just like maybe one sentence in there, someone else listening is going to connect with that. And if you can help them and reach them before maybe their marriage or their health or whatever it is goes down the tube, like that's what this whole space is about. And somewhere in there's a lot of masking insecurities, and that's why that's why we try to overcompensate in other ways. And I for sure did that, and I probably do it to an extent now. But the more powerful way it's to just be aware of what those are and really address them and really just be comfortable with your strengths and who you are. But yeah, it's absolutely similar stories. For me as an engineer, I never really loved it. And I worked for over 12 years and taking a little bit of a break the last bit, but about to get back in now. So super exciting, super excited. But yeah, for me, it was sort of similar, just really pushing and really trying harder and really blaming everyone else for not giving me opportunities or me not being able to get to do the things I wanted, just really sitting back and waiting. But it's the complete opposite of what you actually need to do if you want to reclaim your life and you want to get promotions or you want to get different jobs, you want to get different opportunities. You need to show up with more value. You need to show up and actually ask for these things. You need to empower yourself and get off your ass and go get them yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And have you found doing that on your own is going to get you there, or is actually asking for help, like when it's relevant, like asking for help with the right people and not being afraid, is that helped you to expand to where you are right now?
Yeah, asking for help is huge. And I've got someone or a couple people in my world right now, like they need help. And then no matter how many times I say, go see a counselor, go see a psychologist, go see a therapist. They're like, no, I don't deserve it, or I don't need that, or I don't want it. But I can only suggest that and present that invitation so many times. But that's why I talk about it. That's why I talk about in the book going to see a counselor, which I did right in the beginning. And that's why, eventually when I read through the book, you're like I was saying, I was like, I went to the counselor, but still, I wasn't getting this understanding of these changes that were going on in my mind, about this new awareness and everything, new thoughts that I was having. And eventually down the line, I myself hired a coach because I needed to progress myself and start moving forward and setting new goals and building up my confidence. So every step of the way, I recognize like I don't know how to get from A to B, and I need help doing that. And once you start operating from that place, that complete humble place, like I don't know anything. Like right now, I don't know anything about how to market a successful book. So I'm like, everybody help me as much as possible. I've never done it. I can read about it, but I will take all the help I can get. Like we are not built with all the knowledge that we need to reach our goals.
No. And how many times have you seen like dudes that you coach yourself, like where they were at when they weren't asking for help, and then just the accountability of like, okay, I have to check in. Like, I said I was going to do something. When I don't do it, there's a consequence. But you're catching it a lot sooner than 5, 10, 15 years down the road doing the same shit and not showing up. And then all of a sudden your wife's holding divorce papers in front of you. Like, this shit ain't cool. Like, do you see that?
Accountability is so huge in coaching, but I mean, you don't even have to be in a coaching relationship. You can be accountable with yourself. You can have your to-do lists and books and all the stuff that I have. And I still have a whole bunch of coaches as well. The accountability is so important, but you can do that with your friends. You can do that with a partner, whoever it may be. But accountability is so powerful. You can set a timer on your phone for every week at noon on Wednesday to go outside and talk to the same tree and report to the tree about how you did on your week before in the goals that you told the tree a week before. There's some pretty crappy coaches out there. And I know for sure that this tree outside my place would be better than them if I had to commit to going to show up each and every week. So there's accountability. But the other thing is, you mentioned talking to your buddies and my buddies as well. I'm just kind of tired of this whole surface level bullshit where we really let each other get away with not living up to our potential. So I've started calling out my buddies a lot more lately. Like, man, you're wasting away. You're not not giving your all to the day. You're in a shitty relationship. You're moping around for no reason. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Get your shit together. Go see a counselor. Start with how many things you're grateful for, and just realize, especially now with all that's going on in the world, I'm just really tired and making a point of, I'd like to see dudes calling each other out on their shit a lot more.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, I had a couple people try to call me out when I was hiding near the end. But when you're not used to people doing that, and you're not used to feeling what that feels like to be, hey, like, you're a fuck up right now. Like, what are you doing? We're really, really hard to look inside and like acknowledge that, hey, maybe you're right. And that's why I love the coaching more than talking to friends, because they're just going to want you to show up the same way that you've been showing up, because that's what they're used to. They're used to you acting a certain way, and they like that because that's their comfort zone. And then you do the same to them, you do the same to your wife, and shit. And then, yeah, it's just all bad. So that's why, I love that.
You nailed it there. And I haven't really shed a lot of friends over the last couple of years, but not a lot of my buddies follow me on Instagram anymore. That's for sure. But we're still friends, and we've been getting together on Zoom calls more with all this pandemic that's going on. But it's exactly what you said, because I never used to go on podcasts. I've obviously never written a book before. I never worked as a coach. I never did public speaking. All of that, you have to understand, is new over the last 2.5 years. Before that, I was always outgoing and comfortable in crowds, but I would never be able to speak like this and have conversations like this at all. And when I started growing into this and I started doing this more and I started putting myself out there, my friends pulled back because they saw me really stepping into my greatness and pursuing a passion. And it made them, I imagine, a little uncomfortable. And I hope make them a little uncomfortable and question what they were doing and how they were staying within their comfort zone. Exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. So and we'll just touch quickly again on, like, you saw a counselor and therapist, right? So the difference, what is your take on the difference between, because there's a big one, between counseling and coaching? So obviously we're both coaching now, but we're not counselors. We're not certified therapists. What would be the difference when someone to go from one to the other?
Yeah, for me, I like to keep it simple. So counseling and therapy really deals with the past and how you got to whatever happened to get you into wherever you are now, whereas coaching really helps you go forward. I just like to keep it super simple like that. So after, when I started seeing my separation happened November 2017, I saw a counselor a couple times in November and December, and I really went to see them to check in on myself and make sure I was healthy and I wasn't losing my mind. But after that, they didn't really serve me that much. And it wasn't until March 2018, so a little over 2 years ago, that I started working with a coach. And then when I did, I got clear on my goals. I got clear on telling my story, because I'd been through this rapid transformation. And I started to share everything that I was learning with social media and my friends. And then I too saw that I could be a coach. And so I started, fast forward a few months after that, I finished a job that I was working on in Victoria, BC, working as an engineer on site. I took some time off, did some traveling in Central America. That's when I started writing the manuscript by hand in my journals. And at the same time, I started to coach other people. So I really made this transition and stepped into this new role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the exact way I describe it, pretty much almost word for word. It's just, the coaching for me is just, it's the accountability and just, I don't know, counseling. I would have like a week where I would be like, this is the way that the groups that I'm in, like, that's it's coached. It's daily. Like you show up and you say you're going to do the work. It's daily. It's something simple like a messenger check-in, right? But for me, that's just huge. And then the weekly calls, right? So, because in between that week, if I didn't see a therapist for a week or two, I was just lost. Like, and I didn't see one for very long before I realized that, hey, I'm an addict. Like I could be addicted to scratching my ass. I could be addicted to, it doesn't matter. Like who ruins their life on bodybuilding and dieting? And yeah, this guy, I did. Now I see it everywhere. I see that shit everywhere, right? Like you can be addicted to the home shopping network, right? Like, but I did not want to have to deal with reality. So honestly, dude, I was addicted to golf for a period in time. And I was at the range in the morning, I was at the putting green, and then in the afternoon after lunch, I would go and play. Yeah, I could waste the whole day playing golf. Are you kidding me? Like, it didn't matter. So
I see it all the time too. And for me, I did in 2016, I did an Ironman. So I was addicted to exercise. And what these addictions are, and I see it all the time now with some of the people in my world, whether it's buying stuff online or exercise is huge, or it's drinking. Obviously, so a lot of people are drinking more now that they're at home, which is unfortunate. But you're just avoiding you're just avoiding the problem. You're just avoiding whatever thing it is that you don't want to think about or you don't want to address in your life. And that's why I'm really, there's two ways that things are going to go right now with this pandemic and everyone being at home. Either people are just going to numb themselves, keep drinking, keep shopping, keep buying the crap and just kill time until it's over in the summer. So they're just going to waste 3 months of their life and keep their job going and keep their average relationships going. Or people are going to take this opportunity for their own awakening. They're going to, and this is what is happening on a global scale. Like this is our wake up call. If we as humanity don't take it, we will get a stronger one in the near future, guarantee you. But this is our invitation to raise our consciousness to a higher level. And the people that are curious about this, or perhaps hear this episode, or perhaps read something, or perhaps feel something different, and they take that opportunity to, they have a couple extra hours in their day right now, so maybe they'll take up meditation or journaling or whatever it is to just step back and take a look at themselves, maybe get a coach to help take a look at them and really address those parts of their life that are no longer serving them. And ultimately what it really is about finding that fulfillment, finding your soul's journey, find out what you really want to do, find out what you're good at, and then finally get the courage to pursue that. For me, it was engineering in my old form of it was never really it. I was never really getting it. And so I've gone to coaching, I've gone now to writing and speaking, and now I'm leaning more like super hard into the book and the writing and then more into the speaking. I'm kind of letting the coaching take a third seat right now but I had to go through the coaching to get to the writing and the speaking. And now I'm going to use the book to get more to the speaking once I can speak out in the real world again. But you have to have the courage to face these parts of yourself and to explore these things that are going to make your heart sing. Because if you were not 100% fulfilled coming into this pandemic, you're not, and you just numb yourself for the next 3 months, nothing's going to change. This is your opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree, man. Like I literally, I'm not working in the oil field right now, and with all the changes and things beyond my control, I could sit here and get drunk all day. I haven't drank for over a year now, but seriously, like I'm sitting here and with the accountability of the coaching, like I was on another one of my sales coaches, like, do a webinar. Okay. When are you going to do it? Sunday? This was last Monday. So now I've committed to do a freaking webinar, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I've never created a funnel. I've never created but guess what? It gets me something out of bed. Now I have to do that. I'll spend all day doing that. And instead of stewing about not having a job or not like, it's something that lights me on fire because I love it. Well, this is what I like to do, whether it's yourself as an interview or coaching somebody or sitting in a coaching and being coached. Like, it's just making my brain shift into a different pattern. And it's just absolutely amazing where you can go from not even be knowing how to journal or like what that even looks like to not knowing how to meditate or making fun of it to like, I could sit for hours and do it if I really wanted to. Like, right? Who wants to sit inside their own freaking head? Like, oh my God. Like,
I could do it all day. And yeah, for sure, I could. That was never the case 2.5 years ago. And yeah, I really commend you for everything you're doing and the courage that you are taking to go there and for turning off the booze. Like this tomorrow, I think it's 2 years since I stopped drinking. It's been absolutely transformative. Not for just like the health benefits are insane, but it's more the clarity in your mind and like booze is a poison. It has no benefits. I'm sorry, it's got zero benefits. But people have to be open to exploring these new opportunities. And for me, over these last couple of years, I feel as though I've given myself this real world MBA by trying all these things, by doing the same thing, doing webinars that nobody shows up on, building funnels that don't go anywhere. But I've learned so much about coaching. I've learned how to speak from stage. I've learned how to write a book. Like I have spent hundreds of hours on that book, and it is good. It is good.
No, dude, I agree. I agree, Michael. Like, no, man, would you have ever, without your wife, like, let's say your wife had stayed with you, where would you be today? Like, we don't know, but where would you be doing any of this? And
hard to say, but that is the ultimate question. How to get the wake-up call without having it delivered to you on a silver platter. But again, that is what I feel this real opportunity is right now, because people are getting this wake-up call, whether you're losing a job or whether you're stuck in a tiny condo with a partner that is like, if you're not with a partner who is absolutely lighting you up 95% of the time, like, why would you settle for anything less? It's crazy. This is your only life. Why would you settle? But that is the ultimate question. If you don't get the 2x4 to the head, or you don't get the wake up call, it is very challenging to make those drastic changes in your life. And obviously, I'm so grateful for how everything turned out. Me and my ex are on great terms. Were you on last night at the end when my other ex came on?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I was anyway. So I'm on good terms with all of them. That was 20 years ago, though.
Yeah. No, but it is crazy how almost everyone, a lot of people, they need that 2x4 to the head. Like, something drastic has to change in order for you to want change or feel that okay, no, I do need this. Like, it wasn't her, it was me. Like, oh, it wasn't the job. Like, I actually wasn't showing up at the job. That's why that didn't work out. Like, but why wasn't I showing up? That's and going down that rabbit hole is where you need to go to be able to show up in life. And man, it's crazy to be able to be present and be able to know why you want something. Like, not just say, hey, I want $5 million. Okay, well, why is that important to you? And realizing what your values are and why that's your mission to have a wife and a kid and do the job that you want. Like, why is that mission important to you? And it's without going and it would be so nice if the 2x4 was not needed. And that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like you are too. So.
Yeah, and that's the whole power of storytelling and podcasts and books and sharing our experiences. Because if there's one piece of our story or what we're saying that resonates with someone before they need the 2x4 to the head, if you can just empower someone who is going through the same motions every day, getting up, going to a job that they hate, be in a relationship where they fight, being unhealthy, whatever the heck it is, if you can just say one thing from your past or your story that really helps them empower themselves and stop blaming everyone else for their life. And they will come when they're ready. They will come join a men's group or a coaching group, or they'll pick up my book, or they'll read your podcast when they're ready. All we can do is present the tools. You cannot put them in someone else's hand and press power.
No, just like rehab, right? Like no one's going to come out of it swinging if they didn't want to be there first, right? So yeah, it's amazing. So no, I appreciate how you're showing up in the world, and I love it. And yeah, I can't wait to hear another episode or another chapter of the book. And then yeah. And when are you planning on launching, I guess?
Soon. It's all in my hands. I'm empowering myself to finish it. But yeah, the intent was to have it out by the summer, but I really feel inspired to get it done further. But I'm pretty close. Just have to get a cover and then work with an editor to just polish things off a little bit. But it's close before the summer, because I really feel there's a lot of lessons in there that will resonate with people in this current situation.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm excited. So no, man, I appreciate you. And any other, what is your Instagram and Facebook so people can find you?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I appreciate you as well, brother. Instagram, Michael.Tranmer. That's TRAN as in Nancy, M as in Mike, ER. On Facebook, it's Michael Tranmer, and then my website's michaeltranmer.com. And yeah, I'm just super excited about I started reading. This was just an idea I had on the weekend to read these chapters live every night, but it's been really helpful for me to go through the editing process as well, but really to connect with you and some of the others who are tuning in. So grateful for that. But yeah, I'm really excited to get that project done and get it out there and get it in people's hands and get it in a lot of people's hands.
Yeah, no, that's right. 100%. And man, I did. Yeah. Kudos for doing that. Cause I posted in the thing last night in your chat was like, seriously, when I was at rehab and I had to write like a letter to my kids and a letter to my wife, like about what happened, like never would have had to send it or whatever. And then reading it, that was next level. Like for me, that was the only way like to actually open up. And that's, oh man. So yeah, so for you to be able to do that and keep your shit together, kudos. Because it's super hard to to do this is one, to vocalize it, but to actually read what you wrote in front of other people, yeah. Whew.
It's I was nervous on Monday, but whatever, I've generated courage before. I can do it again. I've been through the lowest point in my life. No matter what I do right now, nothing's going to kill me. It's just going to help me to grow. But yeah, it is so revealing to present your art to the world. But if you don't do it, you don't get the feed. It's not going to resonate with all 7 billion people. But if it resonates with 1 billion people, then that's pretty good.
Absolutely. So, no, sounds good. Well, no, I appreciate you jumping on, and yeah, man, we will. We'll let everyone know when the book drops for sure. And yeah, appreciate you being on the podcast.
To be continued. I think there's another topic in there about really the power of what you said about journaling and writing down your thoughts. And what I do a lot is write down about my future, but you have to also then speak it into existence, and then you have to actually live this new life that you want to live, and it starts coming into reality. So that's a to be continued for next time.
Love it. No, that's what we teach here is journaling, and then learning something and teaching it. So yeah. It's just, if you're just journaling and there's no revelation behind it, and that's one, that's not going to happen. And then two, if you don't put it out to the world, no one's going to know what that is. Like, it has to be relevant, but man, once it is, you figure out what your why is and why it's relevant to you. That's what this is all about. And then if you can compound that by teaching somebody else, and then it's only helping you say it and teach it, pound it into your head, man, it's awesome. So no.
Beautiful.
All right, man. No, appreciate you. And yeah, that's all good. All right, Luke, we'll end her there. So
yeah, sweet. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, no, good. Third interview ever, so still learning.
Oh yeah? That's pretty good. Yeah, I was someone else's third interview ever last week, and she took the opposite of approach where she was reading out questions and sent me this whole thing to fill out before, and that's just for her. Like I don't need that. I've done enough of these. But that's one extreme of being super prepared, and then yours is just kind of giving her. I like more towards your side. But you know enough about me and my background and story to keep the conversation going. But I definitely, because I had a podcast before and I've done a bunch of interviews on the interviewer side as well. So I can appreciate the balance of keeping the structure, but also keeping the flow.
Yeah, I've done, and my editor, he's like, go back and listen to your first ones where you like wrote shit down.
Yeah.
And like, you can tell, like, it's like, go back, like, you've come a long way. I'm like, sweet. And coming from like one of the biggest podcasters in the world, right? Like in that space. So it's freaking cool. And oh man, he's gonna hear that shit. You can't bump him up too bad. But no, he's awesome. Super cool. No, I love it. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
what's next for you? How can I support you?
Just got, I don't know, man. Trying to grow an audience is freaking, like, Instagram, I hate it. Like, absolutely. Yeah. Their new platform, you can't grow at all.
No.
Like, so I don't even know if I went to buy an ad, and then I bought an ad, and then they rejected it because of the guidelines, and it was just a testimonial, right? Like, and then you can't have a testimonial. There's ways around it, but yeah, it was freaking unbelievable.
Yeah, Instagram's it's a real pain in the ass. Did you? I have that free course. Did you get that, or are you in on that?
No, I was scrolling, like, right before the interview. I was scrolling down your feed, and I seen it, and I was like, shit. So yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah. Just send me a message, and I'll give you the password. But again, like, it's good. There's good tips in there. It'll help you grow a little bit. But yeah, Instagram is a real pain in the butt. I'm getting more engagement with people on Facebook these days. I don't know why. Some posts, some posts, no. But yeah, no doubt, growing an audience is a pain in the butt. And I just listened to a podcast this morning about how to launch a book, and there's all these like 12 different things to do. And I just keep coming back to create something amazing. Like, create a great book, create a great podcast, be patient, do it for 6 months or a year, whatever it is. Like, that's the best marketing, just to have something that's like, nowhere in this podcast this morning did the guy say write a good book. I'm like, isn't that an important part?
No, unbelievable. Hey, yeah, no. So I just got to play around with the ads, but yeah, I'm just gonna. I don't know. I'm gonna do that webinar on the weekend, so I don't know if you'd be interested in hawking that. But yeah, I'm just started the funnel this morning, and that's what I got consumed in. And yeah, I don't know if you want some tips on how to do that, like, follow Dr. Ed Osborne. That dude, he's a chiropractor, but like, he's like a unicorn when it comes to marketing, and like, it's super cool. He's got like Dr. Ed TV. So it's like, basically, you watch him work. He doesn't teach you how to do this shit. You just watch it, like, how easy it is to build a ClickFunnels, or how easy it is to do a webinar, like, build one. And it's just amazing. And you're like, man, he just got his little drink and he just sips it and he's going along. And yeah, Dr. Ed TV. Like,
I'll pass on that one. I've spent some time in ClickFunnels and marketing, and I know enough about it to know that one day I will just hire someone else to do it. But you got to know. It's important to know that first. But it's me. I'm just like, write a good book, right? And that's why I'm taking all this time to write a good book.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do with the podcast, is that I just keep showing. I had my first my first subscriber this morning.
Sweet.
After I've been doing it since October. So every week since October, yeah. So
yeah. You gotta be consistent. You gotta ask too people to subscribe. But yeah, it starts with one, and it starts with, like, for my book, with you guys, like, getting this juicy, like, the real treat early on. Like, that's where the word of mouth starts, when you can really get behind the project and be a part of it in the beginning. And if you believe in it and the message, then organically you'll share.
No, and I got like this group that or these dudes they have a pretty big following in the chiropractic space, and yeah, a lot of it all ties together. It's all it's all helping your body. If you can help your mind, you can help your body. So we can try to push it that way too. And yeah, anything I can do to help that's good. I don't want any other dudes to have to go through what we went through if they don't have to, right? And that's legit, like, why I do this shit. So, one day if I can make money on it and do this instead of my other job, 100%. But
Sweet.
Right now it's just, let's see how many people we can help, and then
Sweet. Well, I appreciate you. I'll let me know when it's out for sure, and I'll share it around. And yeah, it's been sweet.
Perfect. No, appreciate it, Michael.
Be well, keep in touch, and see you tonight.
Sounds good. I look forward to it.
All right. See you next.
Brother.
Good day.
Thank you for listening to today's Tale from the Trench. Be sure to subscribe to the Awakened Tradesman on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and message us for a customized coaching strategy call to successfully live your oil-filled lifestyle. You can earn a fulfilled life. Check back next week to continue listening.